Right, we're rolling. How's it going, mate? You right?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How's pre-season ended for you?
Yeah, it finished a little bit ago. We had like a week off after it, which was nice. Managed to get back to London to see my parents, and then came back here. I think after you've done a good stint of training, it's nice to have that week just to fully relax.
So is that how they set it up? You do the pre-season and you have a week off, and then you get into it.
Yeah, but it was quite short. Obviously, it was quite short because we finished at the final. So we only had, after the 5 weeks off we only had basically a month of training, then a week off, then the pre-season game against Munster, and then into it after that.
Okay.
So it's good. It was quite short and sharp. I haven't done a proper one for quite a while, so it was nice to just have some time to fully focus on S&C and all that kind of stuff.
And how are you feeling physically?
Yeah, I feel good. Physically feel pretty good. I always wonder, like, I don't know how long do you have to train, do you reckon, before you start getting serious benefits from the training?
I think it depends on what sort of training you're doing. Like, I know strength stuff, they say, like, you start to diminish after, like, a couple of weeks, right, in strength. But I think cardio is even quicker than that.
Do you reckon if you deadlifted on the 1st of June and then didn't deadlift again until the 1st of August, you wouldn't be able to pull as much? Deadlift being the best test of strength.
Probably, yeah. I would say so. Would you?
You reckon?
Do you reckon?
No, I reckon you could do it. I reckon you could
Maybe
do it.
you weren't maximising your lift in the first place, mate.
But you've got that very scientific mind, haven't you? Analytical.
Yeah.
No emotion.
It'd be interesting. I haven't like heavy pulled for deadlifts in a while, although I have been training deadlifts a little bit. So I'm thinking about going down PFP this week, and that's one of the things I want to do is like pull a heavy one rep.
But it's good. It was good to have the time off. It was good to have the time just focusing on something else that wasn't rugby. And now I think we should be in a decent state to sort of attack the season, you know. And because it was last year was a lot. It was a long slog. Like, there's no getting around that.
Yeah.
So now it was good. How are things with you?
Yeah, good, man. We've been like super busy. We got 5 new products launching and then a relaunch of the beef organs.
What does a relaunch entail?
The relaunch entails, so I always had, like, in my mind, I wanted the capsules to be bigger than they are now. I wanted more in there. And Izzy doesn't think it makes a blind bit of difference and that people will notice, but it was a big deal to me. So yeah.
What kind of upscale are we talking about? What % bigger are they?
So they're we're getting into the boring details here, but they're like 1 capsule size bigger than what they were previously. But it means that each capsule will have 500 milligrams of powder in it.
Whereas what now you're looking at 350?
350 at the moment, yeah. So a serving size will be 6 caps, the equivalent of 3 grams powder, which is 15 grams of raw meat.
Is there going to be a grand unveiling for this? You're going to cut a ribbon with a big pair of scissors?
Yeah, I wanted to, yeah, but Izzy thought it might be a bit of a stretch. But yeah, then we got 4 other products coming out in the same vein. So we got like pancreas and liver, which is like a digestive enzyme complex.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is like our pancreas creates all our digestive enzymes, and by eating pancreas, we get extra digestive enzymes into us, and obviously people have issues with digestion. And it's not what you eat, it's what you can absorb, sort of thing. So it's to help anyone with sort of like digestion problems. Then we've got a purely liver powder coming out, because like liver, out of all the organs, like liver's the most nutrient dense one.
We'd say liver's the best.
No, well, it depends, mate. The answer is it depends. Like, if you've got heart problems, heart's the best. If you've got thyroid issues, you want to be taking the kidney because of the selenium. But if you're looking in terms of just like bang for your buck micronutrients, yeah, liver's got the most.
Liver's the daddy.
Liver's the daddy, yeah. So we got pure liver coming out, and then we've got a bone capsule coming out, which is a good one for like people as they're getting older, because like people get hip replacements and all that sort of shit. So eating bone strengthens the bone, and then is also good for, like, I'm doing a month no dairy at the minute, no dairy, no gluten. So for like someone who's doesn't eat dairy, it's good, because how else are you gonna get your calcium in unless you're eating fish bones or eggshells?
Fish bones.
Yeah, like if you're eating little fish, like little sardines and stuff.
All right, yeah. Do you ever have white bait?
Yeah, mate. I'm not a massive fan of fish, but I'll eat it because I know it's good for me.
Yeah. And what's the fourth part? The testicles.
And then the fourth one's the testicles. Yeah, which it should be the first one out.
Obviously, this is one. I don't want to early and like. I don't want to go too early, but is there a name in mind for the testicles?
Well, so I chose an optimized male, right, for the testicles, not to be like too crude. But then I saw James from PFP at the beach on Saturday, and he was like, "Mate, just call it like testicles." So I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna.
Why does James think just to call it just tell it how it is?
Well, he's been looking like personally to buy testicles from the butchers because he wants like the benefits of eating them.
To eat it like an apple.
Mate, I don't know. God knows. I should have asked him how he's planning on eating it. Should imagine he'd like cook it first, maybe chop it up and put it in a burger or something. I don't know. But
that really is an off-cut of meat. That.
Yeah, I know, man. It's well, that's the thing with there's a few things where it's like, I don't know. The thought of eating it is like, some people find it hard enough to eat heart, liver, and kidney. Like the thought of that's too much for them.
Yeah.
I think I drew my line at brain when I tried to eat Mo, who we had on a few weeks ago, but we launched it, the most recent one. His family cooked, like, they're insane cooks, and they cooked brain for me and Tim, and it was I had a little bit, and I was like,
what was it? How did they do it?
I don't know. I suppose it was like, because they
had a sauce.
Yeah, it was like in a bit of a sauce, and it had like some herbs on it and stuff. So it's been cooked, but it's just the texture of it, man.
I have actually had brain once before.
Yeah.
We had an awful eating day.
What did you think?
Didn't like it.
Do you think it's the thought of eating brain?
No, it isn't the thought of eating it. We had all parts of the animal. We had some lung. It was quite weird. It had like texture like sponge. Like, the sponge used to clean dishes.
Yeah.
It had texture like sponge. Brain's quite like gloopy almost.
Where was this?
Cooking school.
Oh, right. They just cooked up. It was
one of the days it was like a series of like 5 weeks. It's a few years ago now. Me and a few of the other lads did it, and basically we like butchered a lamb, different parts of it, and the 5th day was the offal of the lamb.
Oh, nice.
And no, it wasn't. It was the worst.
No, I mean like nice as in an experience.
They had a professional chef on site, and one of the days he did shredded lamb with a potato rosti, these like sweet carrots and a crumble.
Wow.
To finish and custard. It was actually insane. And then the last day we got offal stew, which didn't
go out with the bang.
The kind of thing you'd enjoy, but I'm not.
I don't know, mate. I eat some of this stuff, and sometimes even I'm eating it, I'm going, oh, what am I doing? Did you have eyeball?
Didn't have eyeball.
Okay, interesting.
What do you mean? Have you had eyeball?
No, I've never had eyeball, but it's another product that I'm like potentially interested in doing.
Were most family enjoying the brain?
Yeah, I think they like it. They're used to it. They're raised like, I love liver, but I was raised eating liver. So I think if you grow up and you've got no like stigma in your mind about it, and so some people see it as a delicacy, don't they?
The thing I draw the line at would be colon.
It's a bit of a why.
Yeah, a bit much for me that. Or rectum.
Yeah.
But that can't be a delicacy anywhere,
Mate,
can it?
So on the topic of rectum, so when you see, when you see in like on like a fucking chocolate bar or like anything like that, it says natural flavourings.
Yeah.
There's like a list of like all these things that count as natural flavourings, and I heard this on Ben Greenfield, so I haven't done the research myself, but he says that one of the things that counts and is often used as natural flavourings is beaver's anus. So next time you see that on the back of a packy, you know what's going down.
Who's Ben Greenfield?
You don't know who Ben Greenfield is? He's like one of the main biohacking guys. He's been around for years.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's on. He's
Beaver's anus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was beaver's anus. It was some animal's anus. I'm like 90%.
The flavour's what? Chocolate.
It's like in. I don't know what that specifically is in, but you see natural flavourings on like fucking loads of shit in the supermarket.
But like, what else would?
And that doesn't necessarily mean that product has got beaver's anus in, but it means it could be like if they decided to put that
bar
in.
beaver's anus. What else?
I'm not
is
sure.
used as a natural
I'm not
flavour.
sure, man. Obviously, he's just going for the clickbait,
like preservatives or additives.
No, because you list on packaging. You list preservatives as separate, like, and you add binders as separate as well. So it's just, yeah, I suppose it's just stuff to give. I would assume it's stuff to give flavour to the product, but
I wonder how they figured that out.
I don't know
about the beaver.
I really don't know.
Some really bare thinking about. It's terrible.
That guy, mate. That guy, whoever did that, he's probably sat in a dark room now.
Yeah, he's probably raking it in. It's probably earning millions.
Oh, mate, we've digressed massively. Oh, yeah. So the bull's testicles. Bringing it back round. So that's the other one, and then we may have one other, which is in the pipeline at the minute, which is oyster. It's like really good sauce.
Yeah, I like the oysters.
So fingers crossed. But that one's the other four are like 100%
locked in,
happening. The liver, the testicle and pancreas and liver combos out next month. And then the other two, the liver and bone, is the following month, and then the oyster might be the month after that. So
have you got any funky names for any of them, or are you gonna tell it how it is?
So I think no, I haven't got any funky names. I haven't even thought about what we're gonna do for the oyster one yet.
Liver spleen matrix.
It's gonna be the
hardcore
digestive organ complex. I think that one.
Matrix.
You like complex?
Nexus
is what.
Yeah,
you
Nexus
like,
is my word.
But yeah, mate, it's been a pretty like full on couple weeks with that, and on top of that, I've been doing this state shift challenge. So it's part of the Carter Institute.
For people who might not listen, what is the Carter Institute? Just give a little bit of clarity.
So I spoke to so I'll lay it out. So there's a guy called Jake Carter. He's from North England, and he's like a genius when it comes to holistic health and all that sort of stuff. And he was like he started out as a PT, but then he just spent an obscene amount of money. I think he's got it written on his website. It's like £250,000, like traveling the world and studying with top functional medicine doctors, shamans, like all sorts of people that he deemed to be like at the top of their profession. And then he just amassed this wealth of knowledge. And he's just literally, I think he started in January, created an institute. So it's the equivalent of like a master's degree in nutrition, holistic health. You study. So I've just finished a series of lectures on micronutrients. So you go through every single micronutrient, like what are the benefits, what are the signs and symptoms of deficiency, all that sort of stuff. And then there's all sorts of topics on there. There's like sleep, optimizing male health, optimizing female health. There's all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I started that shortly after it launched in March or something.
Well, it's pretty new.
It's brand new. I think he literally started the institute in January, and there's already over 50 members on there.
Nice.
And yeah, as part of that, it's like they're doing a month where it's called the 28-day state shifter, which is running for the whole of September. And like they introduced like a loads of different habits that they want the people who are studying the course to like introduce into their like daily routine. So some of this stuff I was doing already, like the breath work and bits and pieces like that. And then some of it's like new. So one of the things is walking 7,300 steps every day.
Not to nitpick, why is it that number?
Because it's 50k a week.
Oh, right.
50,000 steps a week, like split over 7 days. So the idea is you want to do 50,000 steps per week, but they split that out for you. But obviously, if you miss one day for whatever reason you can't walk, then you've got to just make that up on another day to get the 50 over the week. But that one out of them all has made like the biggest. I know it seems like not that techie or anything, but it's made a massive difference for me because it was just like nothing. I've never done that before. A lot of people that come from PT background, that's a big thing. They always say, like, especially bodybuilders, they'll try and get 10,000 steps in a day to like do their to burn a certain amount of calories every day. And it's something that I've like never implemented, and just by doing it, the way I've done it is like, when I get up in the morning, I'll do a 10-minute walk literally the first thing I do when I get up. And then I'll do a 10-minute walk after breakfast and lunch, and then after the evening meal, I'll probably do like a 20-30 minute walk and like finish off the rest of the steps. And it's made a difference because, one, I feel like way tighter when I go to bed at night, which is weird because I was walking like 3,000 to 4,000 steps anyway, so it's not like a massive difference.
Yeah.
But it's made a huge difference to my sleep. And then the other thing is just like body comp. I've just like shredded like fat off me.
So it's just because your basal metabolic rate is higher, you're burning just more energy.
Yeah, you're just burning more calories.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been really good. But at the same time, like I was saying earlier, it's been like really full on with work, and it's been a bit stressful almost. And this was one of the things I wanted, like kind of the topic we wanted to touch on today, right? Which is perspective. And it's like the kind of the way I wanted to come at it from, because it's been something that I've been like grappling with in my own mind, and it's like a journey that I've been on where I felt like I had to make a massive perspective change in my own life when I switched from working in finance to working in like working for myself, working for APE, and it was to get me through that period. I've talked about it before, like the positive prostitute archetype.
Yeah.
And we can go into that now. And I feel like at the moment I'm going through another big perspective change, and it's like challenging, but I think it's like really like sort of valuable thing for people to get a bit of an insight into, like kind of sort of how we operate in that regard.
What do you feel like your perspective has been changed on?
So initially when I was working in finance and I was like trying to set up APE, I felt like really, and I talked about this in the first episode, but I felt like really torn because I was like I wanted to do something with my life, but I was doing something else.
Yeah.
And I was finding it really hard to work in finance when I was like wanting to, create my company. And I listened to a Paul Check podcast where he talked about the positive prostitute archetype. So the idea that you're doing something to generate the money or the time,
to do something positive down the line.
To do something positive down the line. And it was just like that perspective change. It didn't make those months between finding that out and finishing working like completely easy, but it really helped because I just had that concept in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how like that shift in mental state can like make things easier for yourself. And I was listening to a podcast a while back that touched on this with the knees over toes guy. And he studied under Charles Poliquin, the same guy.
Oh, right.
James studied under. And he references a study in this podcast where he talked about the 100-meter runners. And they went to a university in America.
Oh, is this where they change with the perspective?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, no. Continue.
Yeah. So, yeah, they basically they go to a university in America. They pick out all the 100-meter runners. They're all like high-level athletes, right?
Yeah.
And they split them down the middle, so they create two groups, and they say to them both, right, we're going to do a study and we're going to put you both on different training programs, and we're going to test you. It's like for, I can't remember the amount of time, say like 12 weeks. We're going to test you at the end of every single week to see, if you're improving or you're getting worse. And then at the end of the 12 weeks or the end of the period, we're going to bring the two groups back together and you're going to race each other. And basically what they did was they didn't actually put them on different training programs. They put them on the same training program. But at the end of every week when they were going to do the test, they made the one group's 100-meter tracks slightly longer and they made the other group's 100-meter tracks slightly shorter. So the one group thought they were doing better and the other group thought they were doing worse week on week.
Yeah.
And then when they brought them back together at the end of the period, they put them all on the same 100-meter track, and the group that thought they'd been doing better smashed the group that thought they'd been doing worse.
The ones who've been having their track shortened smashed the one who'd been having it lengthened.
Yeah, exactly. And then they did blood work after the fact, and all the people that had thought they'd been doing better week on week because the track had been getting shorter, their like testosterone was up, their growth hormone was up. So it's amazing how like perception can actually change your biology, like your
chemical
biology,
hormonal level.
Yeah, exactly. It's really fascinating. And then we know, obviously, about like the placebo effect and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was reading. So I got the world's driest mouth.
That's right. That's fine, mate.
Yeah, I was reading an article today. It was like in Psychology Today, and they were saying that, I wrote it down actually. Yeah, the placebo effect in like different studies is it has like from 15 to 72% effectiveness.
But I just think with statistics like that, I always get a bit funny with them. Well, how have they worked that out?
Well, it's like it's. I think what they were saying is like over different studies they've seen.
They've seen that in concrete.
Yeah, so they've seen some studies
do.
might have had a 15% effectiveness rate from using placebo, whereas some studies might have had as high as a 72%. They go on in the article saying like it was like little things, like the longer the study went on, the more effective the placebo seemed to be.
Yeah.
Like people who were taking pills, like sugar pills, thinking they were taking the pill for whatever their ailment was, didn't do as well as people that were having injections, even though the injections and the pill were both placebo. Like people, for some reason...
It's because the injections seem way more strong, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
If you were to inject something inside you as opposed to take it orally, you'd expect it to have a stronger result.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what they found. But it's just fascinating how someone can literally be taken. So the example they used in the article was people with asthma, and they were giving them sugar pills, and X amount of them, they studied it, and their airways in their throat actually cleared.
Yeah,
but all they're doing is taking sugar pills and just thinking they're getting better. And then they're actually getting better because of it.
The thing that I find berserk about that, and I suppose I could relate to myself, is that the reverse of that can happen as well to a person. So just as you feel you could be taking something which is making you feel better, things can often snowball in your mind and make them see way worse than they actually are.
Yeah.
I suppose that's where perspective and perception on situations can get a little bit skewed, because you can sometimes feel like, oh, this is going really wrong. I'm not doing well. You feel like you've got loads of eyes on you, and you feel like the world's against you almost. When the majority of the time it just isn't really that important. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's almost seen as normal in society is to worry about these little, quite insignificant things.
Yeah.
As if they're like the be all and end all.
Yeah.
And it's just mad how your mind can make things. It can work either way. It can make you literally heal your body with nothing, with sugar, or it can make you feel like you're up against Sauron's army.
Yeah.
And you're in Jack Jones kind of thing.
Yeah, but then again, like obviously placebo isn't 100% effective, right? So it begs the question. It's like, well, what's the difference between someone that comes in and takes a sugar pill and completely has their asthma recover, versus someone that comes in, takes the sugar pill, and nothing happens?
What do you think it is?
Well, it's their mindset, mate. It's the felt. So, like, have you heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza?
I have, yeah.
So he's
not in great detail or anything, but
I've got one of his books is called Becoming Supernatural. I'll lend it to you. It's fascinating. He's got loads of stories of where he's reversed like really serious diseases in people through like meditation techniques and stuff like that. And a lot of what he does is called like felt visualization.
Yeah.
So it'll be say you'll visualize. So say for example, someone's got what X, Y, or Z health issue, right? And they want to heal themselves and nothing's working, and then they go to Joe Dispenza and he'll give them meditations, but the whole concept behind it is like you feel what it's like to be better. So you visualize yourself as that person without whatever the problem is you have, but it's not only visualizing it, it's like feeling into that. And like that's what he says is the key, is like when you can fully tap into that and feel it, then that's when you fully get the shift.
The real
in your
healing
body
starts.
So with the placebo, it's like, well, it's the people that are really believing that this is going to fix them that you know, that I believe anyway, it's those people that will actually like really reap the benefits of it.
Have you used any of these Joe Dispenza's methods?
Yeah, so he's got a morning meditation which is free on YouTube. It's like, so on Apple Music, he's got 2 meditations that are free on there. He's got like a morning and an evening one. Not a massive fan of the evening one, but the morning ones.
Why is that?
I don't know, I've tried it a few times, I just don't get on with it, but generally I don't.
Doesn't resonate.
It doesn't resonate, but like generally I prefer meditating in the morning, so maybe it's just, you know, it's just like a byproduct of that. But it's powerful, man. Like he gets you to visualize and like, you know, like feel and try and like generate feelings inside yourself, and he kind of leaves breadcrumbs to like, you know, get you into a state of heightened senses. So like he'll get you to envisage like the happiest times in your life, like family, stuff like that. Yeah. So you'll be sat there with your eyes closed doing the meditation, like with a big smile on your face, and these emotions are flowing, and then he'll start, right, okay, now you're imagining, you know, future scenarios. But I think one of the keys to it, and this is one of the things that I'm coming to realize now, is like when before I was working in finance and that change of perception, just the positive prostitute archetype seemed something really simple, was able to help me so much. Like now it's to be able to like go to that next level with the business and be able to handle the amount of work that I'm having to deal with now. It's like, well, I'm having to deal with more, and it's like, right, how can I change my perception to be able to deal with that? And I've been really working on like the idea of like the future self, like being able to envisage
where you want to get to,
where not only where I want to get to, but what is that individual, who is that individual that would be able to get to that place.
Yeah.
So for example, if you look at a really good example is looking at other people in your field that have like done what you're looking to do. So for me, one of the people that I kind of look up to is Aubrey Marcus. He started On It in the US, and it's like thinking, right, okay, what sort of work is that guy doing on a daily basis to become the person?
Are you talking about work that he's doing on himself as a personal work purely within the business?
Well, it could be anything. It's like, right, okay, you want to become a top podcaster, say, right? So, and you're interviewing people. That's your format of podcasting. Yeah. So let's look at some of the people that are doing that, and maybe they're reading before they have a guest on. They listen to every other podcast they've been on. They read all their books.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the level, you know, an individual needs to go to. And it's just like understanding not only, right, okay, well, what's the type of person that can read that amount of books? That's someone that's super determined and dedicated to their craft.
Yeah.
And it's not only about like imagining, right, okay, where I want to be and envisaging this huge podcast and like all the guests and everything like that. It's like, well, to be able to pull that off, who do I need to be? What characteristics do I need to embody? And like get a real clear vision of that, and then see yourself as that person.
And the steps you have to take in order to get.
Yeah, and then obviously
to that place.
Yeah, so it's like on a number of levels. It's not only like where you want to go and what that would look like, it's who you need to be, and then you need to break that down like step by step, like plan it out. Have you had any like experience with any sort of...
Sorry, a bird literally just flew right across the window. I know, that kind of like dead slack-jawed gaze then. It was because a bird.
Distractions, man.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry, what were you... Is there... You know, and this is something I've not really struggled with, because I think sometimes just bad stuff does happen, and maybe there is a lesson in it, but there's some like really horrific situations you see some people finding themselves in.
Yeah.
But can you think of something in your life that happened to you that was negative? Looking back on it, you're glad that it happened to you.
Yeah, I suppose like, ultimately leaving rugby is one of those things. Like I found it when I like was 18 or whatever, and I didn't go from Gloucester Academy into like the higher academy or whatever, and I ended up coming to Loughborough, and that's how we met. But I think that was something that like I found at the time. I found that was probably my first like really tough mental challenge in my life, but ultimately that's like led me where I am now. And I was actually saying, and like I'm really happy with where my life's at and what I'm doing, the trajectory I'm on, and I've got like a real. I look back at rugby and I kind of see the golden thread and like all the stuff, all the connections I made, and then all the like characteristics it like ingrained into me. And then I also think the same thing with finances. Like I spent 5-6 years working in finance, and you know I don't do anything to do with that now. And a lot of people may view that as like a complete waste of time, but I picked up so many skills during that period that you need to be able to run.
I like crunching numbers and stuff.
Yeah, crunching numbers, like the ability to like, you know, deal with people on the phone, and like being able to research, and just like the organization that goes into run. Well, I was a project manager in finance, and if you think about a business, it's just like a massive project.
Here's a question for you then. Just having said that, and speaking about the golden thread there, and the path you took led you to where you are now, is there anything that you would actually change? No. If you could? No. You wouldn't? You genuinely wouldn't?
I genuinely wouldn't, mate. I think
See, when people say that, I always think like there is stuff I'd change. There is stuff that if I was presented with the same thing again, I would have acted differently if I had the opportunity. And I accept that you can't do that, so there's no point wasting time over it, which is something that I do with like different aspects of my life. I do like struggle with a little bit, because sometimes I maybe over question why people did particular stuff at a particular time, or why I did something at a particular time, and almost like beat myself up about it. And you can't change it, so there is no point. It's a complete waste of energy. Yeah. But then I don't necessarily go in for the whole, well, you know, it led me to here, so it was supposed to happen almost. Because if I was faced with the same thing, exactly the same circumstances again, I would do something different.
Yeah, but is that not the lesson within the thing, right? So you learn.
Maybe it is.
You learn, because what's the saying, like about making the same mistake twice, sort of thing. That's
fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice,
no,
fiddle DD.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me is what you're going for, I think. But yeah, mate, it's so true. Like, we learn from our mistakes, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but then it's. I agree. In theory, I agree with you. In practice, I find it hard. That's what I'd say. Sometimes I hear people doing stuff. It's like, why the fuck did you do that? You didn't need to do that. You know what I mean? Especially when it's like, nah, I guess you are right. You are right, because you have to make the mistakes in order to know to not make them again in the future.
And also that, like, so this is a concept that I completely didn't understand until this week. Well, I hope I understand it now, but it's, you know, it's like the new age spiritual thing. It's like when someone does something that annoys you, they're like, they're showing you where you're not. Like, it's a mirror, right? People say it's a mirror, and I always thought, like, I didn't get it, because I was like, how's that a mirror? Like, I don't, you know, someone's being, I don't know, like a dickhead at the supermarket. I'm like, I'm not like that. How's that mirroring? But it's not. It's like when someone, ultimately, like when someone's winding you up. So say, for example, a good example is getting cut up in traffic, right?
Yeah.
And you get like riled up, and you're beeping the horn, and you're kicking off, you're giving the guy a finger or whatever. But like ultimately, like that is, you're just demonstrating loads of anger, and that is taxing on your internal system. You know, that's going to create inflammation and all that sort of stuff. It is completely pointless. Obviously, there's a line when someone's like, you're being endangered or what, you know, if it's like something serious. But if someone just cuts you up in traffic, by getting angry and kicking off and doing all that thing, all you're doing
doesn't serve to benefit you in any way.
It's not benefiting you anyway. It's just taking away from your situation. So that's kind of a good example of like showing you where you're not, because like if you were on your best day, right? So you've had a wicked day at training, you like perform really well. You know, you've got like, you know, you've got steak for dinner or whatever. You're like going home like happy as Larry, and that guy cuts you up. You might just be like, you know, leave it go. Yeah, you're chilling. But if you've had a bad day, you know, you're beeping the horn, you're chasing them in the car even. So that shows you where you're not, right? Because you're not the ultimate version of yourself, because if you were the ultimate version of yourself, you'd just be chilling in that scenario.
Where you want to be in a situation where nothing can really phase you, I suppose. So that's the aim.
Yeah, well, you're acting consciously. that's the goal ultimately. It's like you're acting out of intention, not out of reacting to situations.
Well, as in you're a purposeful intention where you know where you want to get to and you know why you're acting in a particular way.
Yeah, like for example, if I don't know, say you know, you're out and about and some guy's acting like an idiot, and he could be like endangering, like you know, like I don't know, kicking off and scaring women or whatever, and you intentionally decide to like go over there and take him to one side and, you know, tell him to like shut the fuck up or whatever, then that's intentional. But if someone's doing that and you're like getting,
that's what you're saying. If you like just lose your head, when you wouldn't, if you took a step back and you're like, why have I lost my head there?
So like,
you can't justify why you've lost your head, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not.
Or don't lose your head.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it's just the fact that it's intentional or not intentional. Am I choosing to go and do this, or am I just doing it out of like a primitive reaction?
You just basically been led by your emotions.
Yeah, exactly. So you just want to get that under.
So I was going to say then, what about if someone was like kicking a dog? But then, the thing is, I don't like it when you can get, because what you've done there is you've given me a very reasonable and thought through process of why you've come to that conclusion. Yeah. And you know, sometimes you give that to people and you've obviously given it some thought, and someone goes, oh yeah, well, what about this guy, this one this one outlier that does actually disprove the theory? Yeah, those people I really want me up, and I was just about to do it, but now I'm not going to, so I suppose I've learned.
But it's like, with that, when it comes to that sort of stuff, it's like, obviously we're all, just because I've thought this through in my head doesn't mean I can pull it off in practice all the time.
Yeah, like, of course.
I was listening to, do you know who Duncan Trussell is?
I've seen him on Rogan.
Yeah,
listened to him on Rogan.
Yeah, so he's like an American comedian, but he's like super into spirituality. Like he's like kind of Ram Dass has passed away now, but he's like a guru, and he was like in Ram Dass's sort of like inner circle. He's like, and he speaks a lot about spirituality and stuff like that, and he's kind of like really far down that path. Yeah, and he tells a real funny story in his podcast where he moved into a new house and he didn't have any internet, so he was like, it was like 2 days later, you know, when you move and they're like, oh, we'll put the internet in, but they can't do it straight away, you got to wait a couple of days or whatever. So it was like that. So they were like, gave him a 24-hour time slot that he needed to be in the house. 24 hours? Well, it's a bit long. No, like a day, like a 9 to 5 sort of thing, right? So he said, right, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out into the garden barefoot, and I'm just going to walk around the garden and follow my steps, like a meditation, for like however long it takes for the internet guy to arrive. So basically, he does it all day, and no one turns up. So it gets to like 4:30, whatever. So he goes inside, he rings them, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, sir. Like, you know, we're not going to turn up today. It's going to be tomorrow now." So but bear in mind, he's literally just been meditating for like 8 hours. So he's like, yeah, no worries, okay, tomorrow. So he gets up tomorrow, he decides to do the same thing. And he's going round and round the garden, and he said he completely lost track of time, and he was having like almost like a transcendental experience. Like he was like in this blissful state, felt like he was at like one with the universe. Like he was just like gone, you know, he's basically levitating around the garden. And he said he looked at his watch and it was like 4:30 again. He's like, what's going on? So he went in and he phoned them, and the woman was like, same thing again, we're not coming to tomorrow. And he said he just caught himself like 3 minutes into screaming at her down the phone. So it's like, even like, that's the thing, you hear these people, that are like mad into spirituality, and they've got these, you know, like they've got these practices nailed down, and they're doing this as the discipline every single day. And like even people like that struggle sometimes, you know. So it's like and that's part of it as well. It's just like the discipline of like coming back to it, even and not
beating yourself up. I don't know if you have a wobble or you step or you acted in a way that you maybe aren't necessarily proud of. Yeah, returning to the path that you have intentionally set out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there's literally no point in beating yourself. Like I tell, like
there is no point. You don't gain anything from doing it.
You know, you can have a word with yourself. You can say, right, I'm not going to do that again. And you can even write it down and revisit that every day to make sure you don't do it again. But there's literally no point in
But the thing is, do you struggle with people who continually make the same mistake then?
Yeah.
You do struggle with them?
Yeah, obviously it's hard. And I struggle with myself doing that because I make the same mistake over and over again. You know, like I get stressed out with work, and that's something that I haven't fully got a handle on yet. And that's why I'm diving into this stuff more and more, to try and like get an understanding of it. But
do you feel like you've made steps, or do you feel like you're working in the right direction?
Yeah, I think my progress has been like this, slightly getting higher, but there's been like peaks and troughs.
5 steps forward, 4 steps back.
Yeah, it has. It has
100 steps
like
forwards, 99 steps back.
Yeah, it has felt
still
like
a step
that
forward,
time.
mate. It's still a step forward.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sort of. It is a weird one though, because it's almost, you know, like that guy who used to make a sandcastle on the beach and the water comes and washes it off. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, no, but I know what you said.
You know the people who do sand stuff on beaches?
Yeah.
They always do dogs. You notice that?
No,
Sorry, that's
they normally do castles, right? Big elaborate castles.
No. If ever you go down, next time you're like at a sandy beach and the guys who are making sand sculptures on the beach, it's always a dog laying down. Okay. with floppy ears. Okay. Sorry, it's random. Some listeners might resonate with it. But it genuinely is true. I don't know why. But you know the people who... So you can do all this work for however long, but it can just literally be wiped out with one... Someone can do something, someone can not say please or thank you to, and you just call them every name under the sun.
Yeah, well, obviously
it's just mad how you can build it for like ages and ages and ages. It could just be... I suppose it's just returning to the...
Yeah, you just got to come back to it.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like
no one is perfect, are they?
Yeah, no one's perfect, and that's kind of like but what you can do, and like they've shown this, is like you can rewire neural patterns in your brain. So I know you said this a few weeks ago about like falling back into bad habits. And I've watched a few videos on it since you spoke about it because I was just interested in it, and basically a guy was talking about like how 90% of people that go on diets end up putting all the weight back on, and the 10% that don't end up putting the weight back on, it's not because they go on a diet, it's because they change their lifestyle. So it's like it's people that, rather than say, oh, I'm going to go on a diet and I want to get myself down to like 13 stone or whatever, you know, and then they go on this diet and they reach 13 stone and then they end up just putting all the weight back on. The difference in perspective from someone that does that to someone that goes, I want to become a healthy person, or I am a healthy person now. Because when that person reaches 13 stone or whatever their goal weight is, they'll stay there because it's not a diet, it's the lifestyle change.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it's like, that's with the habits. When you're like trying to break a habit, if you can do the future self, if you can see your future self, who's
a healthy individual,
well, who's the person? So like whatever the habit is you want to break, right? Okay, what would I look like when I've broken that habit? What
There's
sort of
mad
person?
diets though, man. Like when they put them on milkshakes, every meal's a milkshake.
Yeah, the juice diets. Mate, don't get me started on the juice diets. And
no, I'm talking about just milkshakes, not juices.
Yeah, I know. Like protein shakes, basically.
Yeah, but like every meal.
Yeah.
For 8 weeks.
Yeah, it can't be good for you.
But is that? What's the juice diet? Just juice 8 weeks every meal.
I don't know, mate. I've never looked into the juice diet. Since I read Paul Saladino's book about the carnivore code, he talks about oxalates in there and like how they can form kidney stones and they create like little like glass. It's almost like, you know, like stalactites and stalagmites when you go into a cave.
Yeah,
like
those caves. Yeah, you get them, but in your gut microbiome.
Yeah, like in your gut and in your
there was
lungs and organs and shit.
I was just about to ask you something. I've forgotten.
I've got one more thing, so while you remember.
Yeah.
So with the not beating yourself up thing, I think I've spoken to you about this before, but one piece of advice that I was given by a guy called Brendan, who's a coach on the Carter Institute, who I actually spoke to today, and he's agreed to come on this.
Oh, wicked.
Via Skype. So
awesome. We need to wire that up.
Yeah, we need to work out to do it first, but yeah, when we work it out, which could be a long time, knowing our tech ability. But
we're trying.
Bit of advice he gave me was like, it's called like self-parenting. So so whatever problem you've got, or like whatever you're beating yourself up over, imagine your son or your daughter, and imagine that they had that problem, and like what would you say to them? Like what
advice would you offer them? And
exactly,
be firm, be soft,
and then just give it to yourself. Like often the times, like we're beating ourselves up for stupid shit, and if it was your little kid that done it, you just be like, don't worry about it, chill out. Like the sun's gonna rise tomorrow. It's not a big deal. The
one I get that with most is when you've got to tell someone some bad news, or you've got to cancel on someone, or you can't do something with someone or something like that, and you're like proper building, you're like, oh god, they're gonna fucking lose already.
yeah.
You like finally you put the text together for ages, send it, they're just like, yeah, sound mate.
Yeah.
No problem. At all. Like they're probably relieved you don't have to do it. Like But that's the main one I always find out with.
Mate,
you think people think stuff's a way bigger deal than it actually is. And generally, it just isn't. Yeah. It really isn't.
Yeah, for sure. People are like 99% of the time, people are just chill with stuff like that. I can resonate with that one a lot because I like prided myself on being the guy that didn't miss shit. And now, since starting my business, I am constantly missing shit. And yeah, I've sent quite a few of those texts, more than I'd like to, over the last like however many months.
No, that was what I was going to ask you.
Go on.
What have you? This is a personal question. You don't mind, dear?
Go for it.
Have you ever had an enema?
No.
Or a coffee enema?
Oh no, I haven't.
They like clean out your insides.
Up your jacksie? No, have you?
No, I haven't. No.
I know. On a side note, Chris Story. Some listeners to this might know him, the Primal Alchemy UK man. He is a big fan of those. He does them like semi regularly. But yeah, no.
Are they good for you?
I don't know, mate. I've never looked into it. The only thing I know is I watched like a BBC doco on it ages ago about a woman that was doing coffee enemas and like not changing the tubes or changing the coffee. It was disgusting.
That sounds hideous.
Yeah, that is definitely if they're good or not good for you, I don't know, but that is definitely not good for you.
What a strange documentary. What are you spending your time watching?
I know, mate. It was when I was young as well. I think it was just like on in the family home when I was like a little kid. That one.
So they put coffee inside you.
Yeah, coffee enema. I think that's like quite
hot coffee.
I don't know. I can't imagine.
Like a piping hot French press of coffee down there.
Maybe warm.
Burn your inside.
Lukewarm. Yeah.
It's like a boiling, not pouring a hot kettle of.
No,
impossible. No way. It would virtually kill you, I'd say.
If any of the listeners have got any experience with enemas,
input on coffee or regular enemas, really.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Be interested. Very interested.
Yeah, sorry, that was random. I've had that on my mind. I seen a. Just you.
What you've been considering?
I was driving the other day and I saw a massage parlour. Nothing like dark or like fruity. Just a massage parlour.
Yeah.
And it had enema like written on it as one of its services, and I was like, I wonder if Josh knows anything about that.
No, mate, no experience. No desire either. There's not something.
You got no desire.
It's not something.
Anything in the name of health, Josh. You've told me that before, mate.
Yeah, but I don't.
Talking about eating bull testicles like apples earlier.
Yeah, but I don't hear like I've got my ear to the ground when it comes to health. Right, I listen to a lot of like podcasts and I don't.
Yeah, dedicate your life to it.
Don't often hear people talking about enemas, so I'll just leave that one be for now.
Really, fair play.
I know we're running about 48 minutes. I know we wanted to talk a little bit on the upcoming UFC.
Yeah.
I'm extremely excited. First question, what are you we're probably, just for the warning for listeners of the podcast, if you've got no interest in UFC, the last
just
however long is going to be taken up by it, so thank you. You can exit
thank
now.
You and good night.
What are you more excited for, the main event or the return of Nick Diaz?
Of Nick the King, the
5-round king.
It's never won a 5-round fight. No, I think he has won a 5-round. I'm only joking. Did you know what I find mad? The advert for the card, the first thing they advertised was the Diaz fight.
Yeah, no, so I'm not surprised.
Before the featherweight title fight.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, man.
Which is because I was actually talking to Alec. He's outside now, heading into the barbecue. We have you seen the video, the crowd cam where it flashes onto Nick Diaz?
No.
It goes to like Donald Trump. He's in the crowd. Everyone's like, hey, like cheers him. and a couple of boos.
It's a recent event, this.
Yeah, it's quite recent. It was like probably in 2021 or maybe 2020, and then it goes on to Nick Diaz, and the crowd go mental.
Yeah.
He's like drinking his drink, like holds it up. Him and his brother are just the people's champion. They are genuinely the people's champions.
Yeah, man. They got you know what would be mad if they managed to pull off a card with both of those guys fighting on the same night. That would be sick. Yeah, mate. I agree with you. I am more excited for that fight
because the featherweights, I really like Holloway, and I did feel he won the last fight with Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Volkanovski, I think he's sick. He just doesn't grab me.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I really like the Bullet, Shevchenko.
Yeah, she's class.
She's wicked.
But you know, it's Ortega this time, right? It's Ortega.
Yeah, it's Ortega. Yeah. It's just because there's been the Ultimate Fight with those two on, and I haven't watched any of it or anything like that. It just doesn't really grab me. Like, I'm going to watch it. I think it'll be a good fight.
What's your predictions going off the top of the card?
I think Volkanovski, Shevchenko, and I've got to go with Diaz.
And what about
the rest of the card's quite sick too.
There's a heavyweight. There's
Rosenstruck's fighting.
Curtis Blades, yeah.
Curtis Blades fighting Rosenstruck.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, which will be a good fight.
I like Razor Blades.
Mate, it'll be an interesting one. Like Rosenstruck, we saw that fight. Wow, he's obviously got like mad power. He's got like Derek Lewis power. And
yeah. He's a sick kickboxer, and obviously since there's been the rise of Paddy the Baddy.
Yeah, mate. That last card really impressed, man. The one with all the British fighters on.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. It is a mad sport. Because I seen that meme of like when Till fought Woodley and he was unbeaten, and Woodley was he defending his title for the 5th time.
Yeah.
Between them, I think they've won like 2 fights since.
Mate, I feel for Till. Like,
I really feel for him too.
So many. Well, like obviously the Whittaker fight. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, but it was the takedowns, wasn't it, really, that won it for Whittaker?
Yeah, was it a couple takedowns in the last round, or like a takedown in the last?
I think he
rounds?
took him down in the last round, yeah, which clinched it. Because 2 of the rounds were really, you could have gone 4-1. It was either you could have gone 4-1 Whittaker or 3-2, but I think close, having watched it, I do feel like Whittaker won the fight.
Yeah, I agree with you, but you wouldn't have been mad if like they would have said, "Oh, Till won." It
was a split decision.
Yeah, you would have, and then. But yeah, I feel for him, man. I really hope, because he seemed to, going into that last one, he seemed to have this like mindset of like he's
back.
He's back, and like just because he's lost doesn't mean he's back. Well, it all matters what sort of perception he takes.
Yeah, it does exactly.
His perspective on this loss.
But did you see the photo he posted after the fight?
Yeah.
Of Charles Oliveira and Michael Bisping, and I was like, that was a sick photo.
Yeah.
Because Bisping's attitude when he was a fighter, I always really, really liked.
Same.
And you could tell that when he speaks now as a commentator, he said that even though he get knocked sparked out or he get beaten, he'd always have the mindset that he could come back and he could win. Yeah. And he did.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed him putting a beating on Rockhold.
Oh, mate, same. One of my favourite fights.
Completely against a run of play, like.
Yeah, you thought he was going to get starched. I remember thinking he was going to get starched going into that one.
Yeah.
And he kind of like, after that knockout, Rockhold's never... and to be fair to him, he's still banging the drum. Like he's
fighting as well on the card, I think, isn't he?
He might be. I don't know. I'm not sure.
On the undercard? No, he's fighting Sean Strickland
on the undercard.
I think he's fighting on the main card. So that might be the 5th fight.
I feel like the 5th fight's a women's fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's on the undercard.
And also Hamzat Chimaev.
What, is he back?
No, not. But he's back soon. I've seen him.
Scariest man in the UFC.
The scariest man on
the
earth,
world,
potentially.
Yeah, potentially on the earth.
I really, really imagine meeting him down a dark alley and when he was trying to do some harm to you.
Yeah, mate, literally the last person.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And then, I know you said it first, mate, but like Paddy the Baddy, surely he's going to take the UFC by storm now.
He's actually wild, that. It's just this guy is just going to be like a massive celebrity.
Did you watch the Theo Vaughn video I sent you?
Which one? When?
I sent you it like yesterday, maybe. I'll link it in the show notes because it's one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. Theo Vaughn does an impression of Paddy the Baddy winning the thing, and he just basically says every hype phrase that has ever been said in one interview. But he's good, mate. Everyone's speaking about him. He's got an exciting fighting style. Obviously, he's a bit wild, right? So he's leaving himself open to getting knocked the fuck out.
I think he got 500,000 Instagram followers in like 2 days or something.
Yeah, well, he had his account deleted, I think. So he like had a decent enough Instagram. I don't know what it was, but he had that deleted, and then he got another.
Was that because of them trolls?
I don't know what it was, mate. Probably. I don't know. But if Till hasn't had his account deleted, then like
some people just fly under the radar, don't they?
some people just manage to game the system. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. But no, I think it's gonna be awesome, and it's also your 30th birthday,
mate. Exciting, and we get to watch you guys play. It'll be sick.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good.
It'll be a good old day.
Maybe we'll do a recap of the decade episode at some point, because we're both 30 soon, actually.
Yeah, mate. Maybe we could.
Yeah.
Like,
do you feel like you're turning 30?
I don't know, mate. Like I don't see it as like a big deal at all.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
It is a milestone, though, obviously. But I like doing the same shit now that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, I can't.
2, 4, 6 years ago, like I enjoy doing the same shit.
Yeah, I really can't see how it's gonna alter my life at all. Although I'm really looking forward to this week. Got a big day of food, not eating off plan all of Wednesday.
Or is it really off plan?
I don't know. We're going to the Bull in Totnes. Have you heard of that?
We've spoken about it.
It's like supposed to be a banging breakfast place. It's actually really. It's not.
Or waffles.
They've got. So I checked the menu today. They've got the full Bull, so the full English, which obviously I will get, and then they've also got pancakes, which I may get. We'll see.
Could you take down 2 dishes like that?
I think I could, man. Yeah, I took down a double up king cow, but it's not when it's just rice. It's not.
What did you go for?
When I was at yours, I had the.
Oh yeah, you did actually. You did. No, but you left that portion of rice. I don't think I did. I saw that. I saw you hiding that rice.
Right, we're going massively.
Yeah, sorry, we're going.
Do you wanna plug your socials?
Ari.Williams91. Give us a follow, and if you like the podcast, or you're a local business that wants a shout out, we need to actually get onto that at some point.
Yeah, we'll do it. I'm sure.
But yeah, give us a follow, give us a like, and subscribe on the app, the podcast app situation.
Yes, if you're enjoying it, please subscribe on Apple or however you get your podcasts. And if you have a second to leave us a review, that apparently really helps with ratings and shit. So
yeah, please leave us a review.
That'd be nice. And my stuff is apenutrition.co.uk is the website. Health foods, supplements, ape_nutrition Instagram. That's the best place to get me if you've got any questions about any of the products, anything like that. And yeah, let us know what you thought of the podcast in the comments below. And we'll see you next week.
Peace and blessings.
Thank you very much.